Welcome to what I hope a very valuable opportunity to share views on various issues in the water industry, but particularly on how does regulation in the UK water industry need to change in the new economic and environmental climate which we find ourselves in.
Well, what we're trying to do is learn a lot about what's happening in the domestic markets that we operate in. And so what's driving the industry, how do we calibrate our thinking, planning our business around what's going to happen in the future years is really what this is about. I've been involved in a number of dialogue sessions around the value of water, and it's interesting when you broaden the stakeholder group to beyond the utilities, beyond the regulators, you start to realize that there's a lot more to the value of water.
I think for me the most interesting things in the discussion were the regulatory role going forward.
What we want to do in Ofwat is make sure that the regulatory regime and indeed the rest of the sector is fit for purpose to deliver a sustainable sector in the long term. Now we have a challenge of trying to value this really scarce resource better and use it in a smarter way.
I think critical things coming out of the debate were things like should we be thinking of moving water in large quantities. If you look back over the 20-21 years since privatisation, we've seen very little new trades in water across water company boundaries, even in the southeast where it's pretty obvious that water needs to move around. It's been extremely difficult. I think we had some different perspectives on topics that we're currently debating, things like competition, things like incentives.
My big fear is that if we go too heavy-handed towards competition and opening the markets up, it will drive bills up.
We can ensure that there aren't excess price increases driven through to customers, and that can be done through both regulation and markets.
I have reservations as to whether more radical models of competition will work, but certainly something akin to water trading I think can work.
The topic of innovation is probably the one that I'm intrigued by. And it's not just technology, it's around the incentives, what other benefits to the environment, benefits to the community, such that the investors still get a return on what they're doing.
So there is this sort of discussion to have what is actually influencing behaviour, and I think we've thought about this quite a lot in the context of a project we've been doing on innovation. Yes, of course, it's not possible to know in advance exactly what is the value of water, but an experimental approach is not without its merit.
I think there was a very real role for government to educate people that actually energy consumption and water consumption are linked.
I think it is important that collectively as an industry and regulators that we think harder about engagement with customers and raising levels of awareness so that they value water and that value needn't necessarily be a response to price itself.
I think we can be as politicians very much in an ivory tower, so I think it's good to actually come out and discuss firsthand with those parties most directly affected.
I think it's been a great success today. We've had a good, lively debate. I've picked up one or two things today that I'll take back to Severn Trent to, in effect, change the way in which we think about things.
No, I thought the discussion was very good. The representation here was excellent. They learned a lot, they shared a lot. I learned a lot, and it's been really great.